Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's expert webinar titled MB 500. I am Ria from SpringPeople. We are India's largest enterprise training providers, and I will be your moderator for today's session. After this session, you will receive the details to complete the self-learning course for MB 500. Once you complete the course, you will also earn a course completion certificate from Microsoft. So stay tuned and keep an eye box for an email from us. In today's on your inbox session, we have Mr. Anuj Kumar. Anuj Kumar is a seasoned trainer with over 12 years in IT consulting, specializing in Microsoft Dynamics ERP and Power Platform. A Microsoft certified trainer and certified Scrum Master, Anuj excels in Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations, Commerce, Business Central, and Power Platform. He has extensive experience delivering training both in person and virtually, managing projects, and working with Fortune 500 companies. His skills include SLA adherence, continuous improvement, and leading cross-functional teams. Anuj holds multiple certifications, including Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations, Apps Solution Architect, and Power Platform. In today's webinar, Anuj Kumar will let us know about understanding overview and architecture, describing the Dynamics 365 ecosystem, and major components of the Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations software, describing the architecture of D365FO, describing relevant D365FO design and deployment considerations. To all the participants, you can mention your questions in the chat box and it will be answered at the end of the session. Now, without further ado, let's start today's session. I would like to invite Mr. Anuj to start the session. Over to you, Anuj.
Thanks, Ria. Hi all. I hope I'm audible. Ria, if you can confirm I'm audible. Okay. So, hi all. So today's session would be a kind of an introduction to Dynamics 365 apps, like what are these, what are they, and how are they important in our lives. Besides that, as we all know, finance and operations is the ERP of Dynamics, of Microsoft Dynamics. So we will also see some of the architectural behavior of that. I'll just give a brief view about these so that you have a kind of knowledge and understanding of these, the structure. Okay, let me just start. Let me just start with what exactly is Dynamics. Little bit. I just want to give a little bit overview for about 20 minutes about the Dynamics apps, so that we have a clear understanding of the ecosystem of the Microsoft Dynamics 365. Okay, so Microsoft Dynamics 365 is basically a collection of integrated modular. It's a software as service or SaaS apps and services which is designed to transform and enhance our core customers, employees, business processes in an organization. So what it does is it basically integrates your data, your processes, and business logic by combination and the combining of the structures and the capabilities of the ERP and CRM features which are there in the technology. So instead of having a separate different segmented applications like the separate ERP application and CRM, so they have created a kind of an ecosystem of Microsoft Dynamics 365, which provides a lot automated, integrated, intelligent sales, marketing tools, finances, supply chain management. You can think of it. What all business applications you may think it would be required in an organization, all are there. It even has a human resources application. It even has a project management applications. So you can understand how in what depth the Microsoft Dynamics 365 has been made, and that to be used by different different customers and employees. Now, this application, a little bit about the background of this ecosystem is also that this application is basically built on, when I say that this application, this means this whole ecosystem is basically built on the Microsoft Azure, another product. This is a platform that provides the secure environment along with a variety of, again, SaaS and PaaS products. You anyway know what Azure is, right? So it is also linked with overall productivity of add-on over it to the Microsoft 365 account structure, right? So how does it help it? It helps us to manage even users and services all at one place in terms of your applications, which are each is ERP and also the CRM applications. So this is basically the ecosystem of the finance and operations plus CE, which is CRM, and the other applications which are there, which is the Power Platform. I'll just discuss with you a little bit each one of them so that it is easier for you to understand and grasp the understanding of these applications. So let's start with the ERP. So generally when you say ERP is enterprise resource planning, right? That's a full form. So I always say, like, to understand ERP is just to read the definition opposite. It is planning of resources of an enterprise, right? So what are the resources of a company? It is basically right from the finances to the people to the even to the let's say assets. If it is a product-based company, then it is items, even the parts, and all these things, raw material, parts, products, all are the resources in a company. And what exactly the ERP does it plans and it manages that resources of the enterprise. Here enterprise means company, right? So generally ERP software automates the back offices processes for finances, sales. If you can look at the slides, so we have like sales, procurement, assembly, accounting, manufacturing. So organizations can gain a real-time view across their operations by using at one central database and through the MS SQL servers at the Azure. So how it helps is it allows you to provide, it allows and provides you an effective system, an ERP system for you and an organization to analyze the data. It can be it is a transactional data or it can be a master data, resulting in streamlining the processes and efficiency of overall structure and operations of a company. So Dynamics 365 is a set of finance and operations, a set of intelligent business applications here. Fine. So here in finance and operations also, so when you say finance and operations, so finance is one product and operation itself is divided into a set of other products, which is supply chain management, commerce, human resources, and product operations. Product operation is an interesting product, which sometimes you will also see it to be referred as CE, also referred in operations as well. So let's see what each one of them is. So finance. So what is the main resource of a company? When I say ERP, planning of resources of enterprise. So what is the main resource of a company? The main resource of a company is finance. If there is no money, there will not be any company. Like you cannot run a company, right? Any processes also. So finance is the major component in any company and hence major component in an ERP. So finance helps you to redefine the traditional global financial system in order to manage the performance as well on basis of the geographical specialities or maybe local laws. Perhaps when I say local laws, you understand that for example, in India we have say GST. In I think in Australia and UK you have like concept of VAT, for example. So the way the VAT in other countries, say UK and Australia, is calculated is different than how GST is calculated, right? But you do implement ERPs in these countries, the enterprises in these countries. So you need to have certain global financial management system, or else a localization as well in terms of the local laws, right? So that's what I was saying to you. Yeah, so you can also automate the processes where you can even we can manage the financial complexities, also increase the efficiency of overall finances of an organization. Moving across, so supply chain management. This is a huge module. You can say one of the biggest products in finance and overall Dynamics 365. So supply chain is a complex product, or say an app, basically, which is a unified way of managing the overall the warehousing, say manufacturing, even that basically cannot happen without inventory. So we have inventory management also there, logistics, right? Even you have the concept of, say, demand forecasting, means like you can have to forecast what kind of demand can come to your company, and you have to manufacture, or maybe you have to sell a product, right? You should be ready for that. And then the other aspects of it is reporting is very important. Manufacturing, for example, I have said manufacturing, but understand that manufacturing itself is a complex process, right? Manufacturing, even if you have to, let's take to example, even if when you have to manufacture a scooter may have a various parts, right? So each part, when you're manufacturing, or you're having an assembly, as you are manufacturing them at assembly line, any if any of the stock of the parts is like your stock out is happening, or maybe your overall number of items are over in your warehouse, so you need to have a overall functionality through which you can basically order them back, right? So automate the overall order system. So see how complex it can be. Take another example. You all eat pizza, maybe you would have ordered it through, say, the companies like Swiggy, or any place. So what happens is, when you have that pizza, in the pizza itself, the components in that are all formula based, right? So even the base and the sauce, everything is a product, is a company product or item which are getting consumed. So see, manufacturing can be in terms of your discrete as well as process manufacturing. Example, I'm just letting you know. So this basically is a complicated process, and the consumption of the items and later replenishing those items into your warehouse is something also a part of this supply chain management. Hence I said, like, there is this SCM as a product or an app is one of the complicated and the big app of the, I'll say, more complicated app of the Dynamics 365. Moving ahead, commerce. So Microsoft Dynamics Commerce 365 Commerce delivers comprehensive solution, which here unifies, say you have if you, okay, let me just explain it in a simpler way. You go to any store. If you go to any store, generally you'll see a POS there. POS means like the point of sale, where you are basically you are buying something. There will be a teller person or a teller machine would be there. The software in that is basically a commerce, the commerce tool or the commerce app. So that these days, these apps are not just at the teller. It's basically more complicated than you can think of. Commerce here basically has in itself an order management system in itself. Just like HCM, it has its own. Just like HCM, it has its own set of order management system in its own. Besides that, it also has like back office management. It has overall e-commerce as well, website through which you can basically sell your product. So these are all the components of this Dynamics 365 Commerce. Moving ahead, we have like human resources. So human resources as a product basically help to build a data-driven better employee experience in a company. You can implement HR, just like you all, maybe you all must be in some companies. So generally what happens is, you go to your HR portal and update your name, your address, and all the personal information. It may also have your salary, or everything would be there. So it's an HR portal that you have in your company. So similarly, Microsoft has basically given, and one of the apps of the operations is the human resources. So project operation app, sometimes you see them also in the CE side, also in the finance and operations. So I don't really represent state of it, where it lies. Either it lies in finance and operation or in CE. But I'm right now, as far as my knowledge, I'm considering it as a part of finance and operations. Although some places I've seen it to be referred in as a part of the CE or the CRM apps as well. But right now I'm taking it as the finance and operation of the ERP apps. So it provides more visibility or collaboration and for overall project management or resourcing, providing you this sales or all the activities that happens in the project. So that is managed by this application. So this is a kind of an overview of the ERP application that is there. So moving ahead, if you go more ahead towards the you can take you can go more ahead with the other application like CE. CE here is the CRM. So by taking advantage of this capability, what we can do is we can create a here also we can create a kind of a ecosystem which has the sales, customer service, field service, and customer insights, which is basically here customer insight journey. I should have written customer insight journey, which is marketing, but yes, that is there. So sales, for example, here is for the purpose of prioritizing the relationships that a company can have with the user. I'll give you a very laymanish example. So just think about a person calls you for a SIM card, or even for the your favorite Bajaj Alliance. They keep on calling you for these, right, to become a customer. So basically you are a kind of opportunity which they convert into lead, and then you become customer. So basically they want you to be a customer. Once you are a customer, they basically will create a once you are a customer for them, then they will basically be providing you all the customer services, where the agents and technicians may provide you as per the expectations by offering you the applications or the products or the or these things, so that you can basically use their products and understand how they basically provide you overall their capability of the different businesses that they have. So moving ahead, we have field service. Field service is just think an example of not sometime, but these days a lot of times take an example of the okay, so you may have a bike and you go to a service center. So in the service center, you generally will see a person, right? These days they have the forms, but in some service centers, you will see people writing in their tabs and taking all the information from you, right? So those components are basically what they use is the service that they provide you during the service. That kind of service is called field service. So a lot of times, if example, any one of you would have seen, like you have some kind of a breakdown in your house, say a washing machine breakdown. The person comes, he has a list of the items that he needs to check for a particular set of breakdown. So if it is a drum breakdown, so he and she will have a proper list of what needs to be rectified. So those all things are mapped and put as a knowledge material in the field service applications. They have to follow the particular sequence. And what happens is, if you are billed means when they bill you, when they create an invoice against certain parts, say for example, basically post that you need to pay them anyway, but overall it also have the capability of order creation. So these things are part of the field services. The last but not least is the customer insight journey. Customer insight journey, which was initially called marketing. Marketing is an app where basically you create marketing campaigns, try to follow up, subscribe. You basically try to subscribe more users to you, and how you manage them is basically a part of the customer insight journey. So overall, when coming back to the Power Platform, you may see that Power Platform is just not the finance and operation ERP and all are not alone. They also are part of the Power Platform is also there, where the Power Platform basically empowers the organizations, users, people, all to innovate and create applications for your own business needs. The benefit of this is the Power Platform applications like Power Apps, Automate, say Power Pages, Power BI, they can be implemented as a separate product as well for your any implementation. But when I'm talking about this right now in my present scenario, I'm talking in a more holistic way as the 365 ecosystem. So here what happens is they easily connect to the business 365 applications and even to the external application, as I told you, and then they help you to for the organization to innovate, so they can create a simple application at the Power Apps as well. Let me give you an example. Let me tell you an example of the through the ERP. So think about it like so you all must be aware of a simple sales order process. What happens when you place an order? as a sales order. Generally, when you place a sales order, as soon as you'll pay, say you have paid, or maybe say in that when you paid, so the item basically starts. The item basically gets picked and packed and shipped from the warehouse, right? So generally, the picking, packing, shipping, all this information needs to be captured in your ERP as well. So so a lot of companies, what they do is, instead of providing the whole applications in ERP, even the ERP app, there's the finance and operations app also providing to the user. Rather, a lot of companies, they just create simple. I've seen a lot of print to cloud projects. They create a simple app, or the simple Power App, say a Canvas app, a one-page browser app, and provide it to the porter. Porter are the people who pick, pack, and ship the item to them, so that they can basically they can scan the barcode, or scan the whatever QR code or whatever is it, and then they can mention how the item has been picked or packed or shipped for delivery purpose. So it's much more easier to do it, rather than providing them more complex products like ERP, Dynamics ERP. Instead of them giving them a whole product, or even particular section of a product which just only allows them to to capture those information, it's better to provide them an app, because app is any person, any layman can operate on app, right? So that's much more easier. Power BI, for example, is one of the more famous products. You must be anyway aware of it. It is used for reporting and analytics applications. So the Power BI is basically a leader in the market as well, where you can build up the visuals, you can build the visualizations. Here in in this reference, through the Dynamics 365 data, you can make sense of your data and discover new information. And in fact, you can put your own set of equations and the checks and balances in order to get a proper visualizations. Power Automate, for here example, is automating the services, the businesses. You can enable some of the workflows, some of the guidance. It basically provides a more guidance way, or basically more flow way, to ensure the data and processes are more consistent in the application throughout the organization. Basically, there are so many templates where Microsoft has already provided within for the Dynamics products, as well as the non-Dynamics products as well. So that is the overall usability of it. Similarly, this is again, I can go on and on for this, but it's a good and interesting product that is basically helping a lot of users these days, with non-Dynamics as well as Dynamics as well, both side of the technologies. Oh, coming back, this is one of the important area. So this is what we basically started like before, right? So this is the architecture of the finance and operations. So finance and operations is designed and architected basically for the cloud. So it can be deployed as like on, we'll come to it, but like an on-premises as well as for the cloud. So on the overall, this architecture which you see here is the basic architecture all across the on-premise as well as the cloud deployment as well. Hence, there is a differentiation being maintained here as well there. So it can be deployed as like to a data center for on-premise. It can also be managed as a cloud, as a SaaS product. Now, so if you see here, there are multiple layers in this. Before that, let's check. Let's go ahead with some of the common sites and common components in the architecture. I want to show you here as let's see for the common architecture once. Let's see. For example, let's see this identity. Sorry. Let's see the identity. Okay, so identity layer. So here, identity layer basically is basically forms the foundation of all the architecture of all the finance and operation, even for all the other applications also. So this layer is basically responsible for the identity aspects or the authentication of overall architecture. So in the cloud deployment scenario, generally what happens is in the Azure Active Directory, which is intra now, It's called intra right now. That basically provides you more as a part of the authentication. And what happens is in the multi-tenant cloud, or maybe the cloud-based directory or identity management section, it basically is important for you to have the access, as well as access in terms of the authentication and authorization to enter through it. So if you see, cloud and on-premise has a little different in the way that in the on-premise you have it uses the local AAD for the authentication. For the cloud anyway, you use the Azure competencies. So if you see here as a data, somehow this is okay. Okay. Somehow the okay, so data basically the data layer host here. The database is used for overall business configuration. So if you see in the cloud side, you have the Azure SQL that is being taken care is basically used, and from the on-premises side, you see there is an SQL server which will be in your local data center. So that's another separate differences in them. Then we have other things like platform. Platform layer consists of more over the computing the infrastructure that host various components. The components basically may require, so overall component in overall application. Okay, so sorry, in the platform. So when you say that in the platform, there are various features that may include the, say, OS is also a part of it. Say you have the server OS is there, and how server OS competencies and management basically is required to for your application for your server to work. Similarly, over the on-premise you generally have the virtual machine or the app in your data centers. And that basically, if you see, you have a server fabric or the overall stand-alone application with the server with the application intact. Okay. So moving ahead, we have the application layer. So application layer is basically here in this consists of more core application. It consists of application components, code, and metadata. So this layer consists of application platform, foundation, and application suite. So basically, if I go to actual application, so let's see. This is the okay. Let it refresh. So this is the actual finance and operation app. Okay. So the box where I'm using this is the box that I'm using it is a platform. Okay, which is you can say it is more on the cloud deployment. It is a basically more platform which has its own database, right? It has its own database here. Let me it'll take time to open, but it has its own database identity because I basically use the ID and password to basically access it. So it is there, and platform is basically this VM for me. And then the applications here is this is in the generally in C drive in OS service. You will have all the application layer available. This application layer basically includes the application platform, foundation, suite, and the platform. So there are three things, majorly three things. So coming back, we have, if you see, you have so many things here. You have like other services associated with these applications are the UI integration services, web services, task recorder, workflow, business events, DIXA, which is the data management, data access, metadata, security, reporting, batch. They are all part of the application. So this is everything is in part of these, right? So overall code basically resides in these layers, and more on the domain side, or more on the client side domain. So that becomes little more specific, just like you have retail, finance. So all these things also are part of the overall code structure. So you have retail, financial, projects, HCM, production, supply chain management, warehousing, timesheet. So these are all more on the particular applications, which are basically more on the frameworks which are existing in the system. You can also have an ISV solution or third-party solution be on top of this application. Last but not the least is the client layer. So overall, the client layer is the layer through which you access, right, the application. So when you access this application, so these are nothing but your, say, browser. For example, if I'm accessing this application through this is the client layer for me. right? You can access through the Office 365, which is basically we have an integration with the Office of Finance and Operation, even in the other Dynamics application. So that is there. Then you have retail POS. There is one. So when you use commerce, you can also integrate with the finance and operation. But let's not go there. But say retail POS and web browser client is already there. So that is the major components here. So if we move ahead from this, so major components and the architecture, again, I just want to let you know, application suite. Application suite is basically the largest out of the box model, which means that the complete architect, the complete the model or the basically the code. Just think it as a code right now. I'll not go in deep in that, but think of it as a code. Basically, is residing in, so the model is basically the metadata of the code. So in the model will consist of the code structure of this application. So application suite has the as the architecture has the largest one. Then you have foundation. Foundation are mostly over some of the important common frameworks across the finance and operations, which may include a global address book, source documentation, number sequences, organizational models, and all these things. Then last is application platform. They basically includes all the things that are more on the periodic, on the runtime basis, which is like your workflows, services, the SSRS reports, ER reports, and all these are part of the application platform architecture. So this I was talking about the identity layer, data layer, platform layer, application layer, and client layer. So other aspects of the other aspects in an application is basically you have development tools, lifecycle services. Development tools, you need, so the language in which you code for finance and operations is X++. That has been added as a part of Visual Studio now. Okay, so let's see. So let me give you a background. So earlier, finance and operations used to be called. So finance and operation comes from a family of ERP called AX or Accepta. Okay, it's a very like, it's an old tool which is owned by Microsoft since a while. And then like the last version just before the finance and operation was AX 2012, which even now a lot of company uses, but people are since the new versions of finance and operations has come, a lot of people are upgrading it to the finance and operation from AX 2012. There are earlier versions also, AX 2009 or AX 5.0. So what basically I mean to say is we used to have a separate IDE only for X++ coding. So you have, for the code purpose, we used to use a separate IDE. Just like Visual Studio, we had a separate application for code. Now what happened is Microsoft anyway has Visual Studio as one of the wonderful, it's one of the best IDE across the board, right? So why not include X++ into their existing suite of this IDE? So they have included all X++ code even in this finance, even in the Visual Studio. This is how it helps the overall application. So which I was trying to show you is in the backend of the application. Let's take a quick example so that it becomes real easier how overall backend works with this. Let's say a module. So I told you about the finance and supply chain. Let's discuss a little bit on the finance side. Let's say account receivable, and let's see on the sales order side. I'll just show you how okay, that's not, I'll just take another example. The problem is this basically takes a little time to exit. Just bear with me. Meanwhile, I'll just show you the backend of this SQL as well. See, the backend is getting loaded. Okay, it takes time. This is a trial environment, so it generally takes time and this anyway, this sales order. Rather than that, I'm just want to let's show you a customer this form. The customer form is loading. I'll just open the customer form. So this is a Visual Studio, and in this we have an application explorer. See, the application is already existing, like is in existence. This means if I'm trying to even open a form, say a customer list form, say let's call it customer list page form. So whatever you see here is, this means it's already been the code and the overall framework already exists. That's what I'm trying to say. Like you already have code here. So let's say customer table. The name of the form is customer table. Let's no, the name of the column is customer list page table. I think they have renamed it. Fine, let it be this only. Designer. Let's open a customer. Let's say I'm opening this forest wholesale customer. And to see this thing, see this form. So if I want to see this form, it's very interesting. Let's collapse this overall. See, we have an action pane on top, right? So you have an action pane here. This is an action pane or ribbon, which you call in Office. Here it is called action pane. It's a kind of the same structure. Then you have a navigation list and you have the tabs. Let's see the tabs. This is more interesting. See, you have a general address communication. So it's very easy to customize it. So for example, these things. So these are all tabs. So what happens is it's very easy to create a new form. It's very easy to add the form to the UI. It's even easy to make changes to the existing form. So basically what I'm trying to tell you is the application in backend, where you basically do the code, where you basically make changes to the code and you do this activity. It's say very simple. If you see the tab here, so whatever you see in the tabs are these. So if you try to add more fields into these fields into this general, you can basically do it by adding fields into this general tab. Similarly in address and all these tabs, just caveat to it, you cannot directly add it. There's a concept of extension, you need to do that, but that's not part of today's topic. But there's a way to do it. There's a proper best practice way. There's a way to do this. We'll maybe later, anytime, any other webinar, I'll tell you. But yeah, so this is how the overall structure is. This is the form, and this is the forms backend, how it looks like. So it's very simple. So yeah, I just wanted you people to know about it. And also 2 minutes, I'll just show you the database as well. From the database side, if you see, you have AXDB and AXGW. So both will have the data as per as required. And there's the one interesting thing, the reports which you were talking about earlier, SRS reports are basically designs are stored here in the AX report server. So it has a separate databases in the SQL server. So that is how the backend kind of more or less look like. If I had more time, say another 2, 3, 4 hours, I would have just gone on for it. Like I would have told you a little more. But yes, this is something I thought I'll just show you people. Let's come back. Yeah, so I just wanted to discuss a little bit over the cloud architecture, cloud and the this. So the understanding of the underlying architecture of finance and operation is very important for you to understand the risk functionalities of all the user interfaces and all the way in which you can access it. So there are two things. One is cloud deployment, one is on-premise deployment. The cloud deployment offers a fully serviced by Microsoft. Fine. So completely Microsoft provides you the overall service as a SaaS application. The deployment of a business, the deployment is something which you basically do on the UAT and other servers. But on the production side, basically say on a go live, you first time go live, you basically give it to the Microsoft. Through the help of the Microsoft, you do the deployment. You should also understand that so initially Microsoft came up with the cloud version of the finance and operation long back. So later a lot of customers, basically primarily the insurance and the more finance side of the customer, and some retails, they wanted a non-premise tools as well. Maybe they are not comfortable with adding their data to the cloud, right? So So what happens is, so Microsoft also introduced the on-premise deployment. So when deciding which type of deployment your organization use, you need to consider the overall approach of the implementation, whether you have that infrastructure and whether you have people to manage them as well. So additionally, understand that organization that chooses to deploy finance and operations in the on-premise, they have they have lot of features which are not available for them, right? Lot of, but there are features which are not available for them. But interestingly, there are a lot of features and there are a lot of capabilities for which at the end of the day you need to use cloud in any other way. I'll give you an example. For example, you have, like, in supply chain management, I was talking to you earlier about demand forecasting. So demand forecasting as a tool is demand forecasting as a tool is on cloud feature provided through Azure ML and services. So through it happens through the cloud architecture, right, in cloud. But on-premise, if you want to use the same demand forecasting, you don't have any localized way to do it. You anyway need to send your data. You anyway need to use that same service, which is a cloud service, Azure service you have to use for the demand forecasting. Uh, so even so, that's what is a little bit of problem here. This you can get an on-premise, but at the end of the day, there are a lot of features which are not properly available. And if you want to use them, then you need to anyway put your data onto the cloud. So that's the that's the very interesting part of this. Uh, Cloud deployments are pretty much straightforward, right? Let's see. Cloud deployment pretty much straightforward. You have the you have the client here, right? You have the overall Azure traffic manager and all these services available. And you have OData through which you can connect to different applications or any other integration techniques. Then you have the all these are the different AOS batch retail or maybe OS, different types of services that you're basically providing. At the end of the day, these are the SQL services or the blob services. Blob services is this service where you can have some files kept there and then you can utilize them. On the on-premise, it's a little different because it is you who is developing, who is basically taking care of the architecture, right? So you have the SQL server, which is there. Then you have the list of these server fabric clusters that you have. Then you have the in the production you maybe have the load balancer or whatever is the thing, but it is overall in your own data center where basically you place the on-premise applications. The few things for the on-premise, the pros are enhanced data security. Obviously, since data security is something which you keep always with you, customizations are very easy. Like you can anytime do the customization and move it. You don't need to have too much of too many of the processes to follow. You'll follow your own process, but to be precise. So third-party reliance, like you don't have to depend on Microsoft for anything for certain updates and certain these kind of things. Then you have subscription fee is something which you're not. But to be frank, there are certain features like I told you about demand forecast or the other things. If you want to use them in on-premise, you anyway need to you need to basically pay. So it's there. And the most important thing for which an organization go with the on-premise is compliance to the regulatory. That is something which is in their hand, because sometimes you wait for Microsoft to generally Microsoft keeps providing the updates to the regulatory compliances, but sometimes you need to make a request, or maybe you want to develop your own certain set of regulatory compliance or something for one of any country implementation where you may not find it with Microsoft. Then you need to have like you can work on it yourself. Cons are basically the cost. You are responsible for your own applications, and if you have to have a separate person for the infrastructure also, there may be different things you need people for. So that is more complications over that. In the cloud, the more pros is flexibility. Data security is robust. Let's not take the example that happened recently with Microsoft, but yes, to be frank, there is no problem with. I have not. They have seen even a lot of companies which are implementing the which used to use on-premise have moved even to the cloud, because it gives the overall cost is less, the security is good, and Microsoft's response is like it's excellent. If any kind of problem comes up, people are there for you 24/7, and they will help you like anything. Like cons is again which is con here, that will become pro for the on-premise. So con is third-party reliance, internet connectivity issue. Anyway, it's not there. But sometimes the lag is there. For that, you can purchase the Express. Microsoft has an Express thing where you can basically pay it extra to have some express access to the environment. Then you have again limited customization and other upgrade timings and all. These are some of the things which are cons. But I believe that using Dynamics Finance and Operation as SaaS product is better than using anything other way around. So that's the thing that I wanted to discuss with you, an ecosystem of Dynamics 365 application, inclusive for more on the finance and operations. And finance and option that too, I want to discuss more on the architectural side, at least give you a glimpse of architectural side, even from the application and also from the from the UI side. So the reason why I was doing that, so that you can have more understanding how the front end and back end kind of look like, how they basically communicate with each other and all these things. I know that I have not I could have shown you for a little longer time, but to be precise, there is a training called MB500 for apps for Microsoft Dynamics 365 app developer. So there you can basically be part of, and you can learn basically the overall how to use the Dynamics Finance and Operation on the technical side. And it's a really interesting course. People who have any kind of development knowledge, any kind, even C#, C++ also, because it's an object-oriented programming. You'll pick up very easily the language X++ as a language. So there are so many different ways in which you can basically do the integration in this application. So integrations are interesting. A lot of things are there which are part of the course. So this course may give you a little push over in your career as well. So if you ever want to go through this course, you can always anyway, as Ria said, connect with her and she will help you out with the overall course in details. A little bit about it in the course. There is an exam associated with the course. These are the type of questions that basically comes. Architecture is an important side. Similarly, app developer tools, AOT. These are some of the skills which are provided in the course, 500 course. Planning of the architecture, or the how to do the basic programming developer tools, design AOT elements, again development, testing code and developing code in more good and possible way, which Microsoft really want you to do. Then you have a reporting technologies there. You have data solutions management, security, optimization, performance, and all these things are basically available there. Let me know if you have any queries and questions. I'll go on mute.
Thank you, Anuj, for your invaluable insights on technology. I'm sure it was certainly a very informative session for all of you. After this session, you'll receive the details to complete the self-learning course for MV500. Once you complete the course, you will also earn a course completion certificate from Microsoft. Stay tuned and keep an eye on your inbox for an email from us. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you being here. We shall be sending out the webinar recording to all the participants soon. I request you to kindly provide feedback before signing off, which will help us improve the quality of our future events. Thanks again for joining us today. Signing off on behalf of Team SpringPeople. Hope to see you again for our next expert webinar. Thank you.